Good morning all, I hope you are doing well. So I thought I would make you another little video, seeing as I haven't made one for a little while. So what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about earning something versus being gifted something. Now what do I mean by that? Well, yesterday Debbie, my now ex-partner, it feels weird saying that, but my now ex-partner's son, her son Connor, messaged me yesterday to tell me that he'd received the report from the surveyor who I let in my home last Thursday to basically assess my home to see how much it was worth, and he messaged me as Debbie's next of kin to tell me that the surveyor's report has come through and that the property is worth £270,000. Now, why do I mention that? Well, I mention that because that essentially means, as a 50% co-owner of the home that I've inherited, that I have literally just inherited £135,000 yesterday. And why do I mention this? I mention this because when I thought about this figure, I actually felt nothing towards it. I actually felt nothing at all, and I found that kind of strange that I literally just inherited £135,000 and I felt nothing towards it. And then my next thought was, I thought about the £40,000 that I've made off of my own back from my entrepreneurial endeavours, and that does mean something to me. When I think about that £40,000, I get a funny feeling in my stomach, like, you know, you earned that. But when I think of the 135, it means nothing. And I think that got me thinking. It got me thinking about things like, for example, when I used to work in a factory, how if I went to the pub afterwards on a Friday, that first beer always tasted the best because you've earned it. And then it got me thinking as well about, so in the UK, we know this from the Rewired Psychology program, that 70% of lottery winners go broke, they lose it all. And we know that part of that has a lot to do with self-image. Okay, so if you don't think you're worthy of something or worthy of having something, you'll find ways to give it back. So I was just checking the coast was clear. I thought there was someone behind me. And one of the reasons that you might find ways to give it back, it might not necessarily just be because you haven't come from money and you're not used to wealth and you don't think you're deserving of it. One of the reasons I was thinking this morning might be if you haven't earned it. So when you win the lottery, if you're someone who does the lottery, you probably have worked all your life anyway, or have had to work, and you may have had to scrimp and save. If you're the sort of person that scrimps and saves, you've probably worked really hard. And if you're just handed something, you might not feel worthy of it just by virtue of the fact that it's been handed to you on a plate. And I thought to myself, maybe that's one of the reasons that these lottery winners go broke. But I just wanted to, I know there'll be a lot of people out there thinking, oh, I'd be, you know, obviously unfortunate circumstances, but a lot of people that would think that if they had 135, you know, they found out essentially overnight that they're now worth £175,000, they'd think, oh, I'd be made up. Would you be made up? Because I'm telling you now, there's a difference between actually earning something and actually, you know, it being handed to you on a plate. For example, my first holiday, I paid for my first overseas holiday when I was 16 years old. I worked for 2 weeks as a bin man or a garbage man, trash man, whatever you want to call it, with my dad. My dad said to me, do you want to go to America to see your cousins? I said, yeah. He said, good, you can earn it. I was like, okay. So I worked with him for 2 weeks. We got half price flights because at the time he knew someone that worked for British Airways, and at the time you could get half price flights. But that meant something to me. So I paid for my first overseas trip, and I think that's one of the things, for all of my dad's flaws and his sins, one of the things he did instill in me is work ethic. And I literally, when I started my own business, I worked 7 days, I still work 7 days per week, but I worked 7 days per week, like 12 hours a day. I was exhausted, stressed. Yes, I was working online, but I put the hours in. And so now when I sometimes make like £432 for 2 minutes work, that's something called the Picasso principle. Okay, I didn't make £432 in 2 minutes. It took me 30 odd years to figure out how to make £432 in 2 minutes. So just some things to think about there. A bit of a ramble, but I was trying to make the point. You will be much more fulfilled in life if you earn your rewards rather than waiting for them to be handed to you on the plate. So, and as much as, you know, I'm not comfortable with the idea of inheriting £135,000 worth of equity. I know that Debbie would have wanted me to put that to good use and do things, so that money will be used when I eventually sell this home. I'm going to do things, sell my half of this home. I'm going to be sensible with that money, and I'm going to use it to help myself, help my family, and help all the people that I care about in the most savvy ways that I can think of. Anyway, that's my message for today. I did intend for it to be a bit shorter, but that's just me. I can't help myself. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, folks, and I'll speak to you again soon. Adios.